Training group facilitators in a residential recovery setting. This is my macro project for Sober Solutions. What is Sober Solutions? It is a residential detox rehab for people with addiction disorders, for two-bed facility in Garden Grove. 4 to 7 day detox. After those 4 to 7 days, people will go into 30, 60, 90-day inpatient residential rehab period. We have different technicians on site, different case managers, nurses, and therapists. This shelter, it is inpatient. They have all the food they could ever want. um, Weight gain is a real thing for sure. Medication assistance are helping with some groups, education in that aspect, and also helping them get engaged with the community and link them to the proper resources. So when they're finished with Sober Solutions, they know exactly where to go. And so looking at these social problems, right? 50% of people in the United States, 12 years up, unless a drug at least once. That's one use at least for people, a very high number. 48.5 million Americans had a substance use disorder in 2024, 700,000 deaths related to drug overdose. Um, Talking with people, you understand this stigma against people who have addictions, this belief that it's a moral issue as opposed to a medical condition, very high relapse rates. So why do these groups, right? And there's a couple of reasons. Educational groups are really this kind of ground that we use in the substance addiction world. It allows for people to learn about their addiction and learn these coping skills and strategies, right? It's safety planning, building the safe, making the safe space for people to truly express themselves and how they're feeling in the recovery process, help them understand their own personal cycles, help them manage cravings, and make these kind of safety plans in the long run. It's also a great place for them to develop social support because you need that kind of community when you're in recovery. To flip it really quickly to faith integration, this idea of biblical freedom, because addiction is something of the world, right? And God has not called us to be of this world. And also this idea that we have a stronger identity that is in God, not of the things here. And that's important for a lot of people who are in recovery who need to build upon that. And of course, the 12 steps program is heavily rooted in faith-based practice. And that's an incredible thing to have these conversations with people who are wondering about a higher power and try to just to help them understand and get them to a point where they can, make the choice to themselves. Is that higher power for them God, and who is the God that they're thinking about in their own head? And I put this verse here from Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That's something God invites us to do, right? Because when we come to Him, He gives us rest. So a place like Sober Solutions acts like a place where people can stop everything in their lives and really focus on what matters most, which is their recovery, right? And then they have these opportunities, they can start asking these bigger questions and understanding themselves, really express their emotions. Looking at the literature, there's plenty of barriers to treatment. There's plenty of legal issues, policy barriers. Insurance can be a real mess sometimes. High costs, very large waiting times, and I'm proud to be part of one of these places to help people in these times of need. We got recently Medi-Cal approved, and that's brought in a different kind of population to us. Looking at the different kind of groups, CBT improves abstinence rate in these kind of research-supported groups. Self-help groups help people complete their treatment cycles. It's shown to lead to improvements in individuals' mental states and also help build people's recovery identity, who they are. Again, this word identity, who contributes to their abstinence over time. So what I'm proposing to do, and I'm basically almost in the process of doing, is this employee intern training. This training will help equip employees and interns at Sober Solutions with the skills they need to lead these educational groups on their own, right? So teaching them the steps of facilitation, how to plan it, what to set up, starting, guiding, and closing during the whole process of it, the different kinds of groups that we use and what their purpose each is. Uh, some importance on documentation skills with our EHR system. That's also a really big thing. So notes don't get sent back to us. We're writing exactly what we need to do, and we're taking great record of what's happening, and also recording people's progress, right? And some practical skills testing and ways for people to test out to see if they know how to handle difficult situations. That's always one of the biggest, scariest things. When someone it's hard to roll with resistance. We have to learn how to roll with resistance, right? The different stakeholders involved in this, the owner, I've talked to him a bit. His name is Billy. He's a very nice guy. He wants to help people, right? So this groups help people in the long run is the foundation of what we do. I've been speaking with the clinical and executive directors, and they're very invested in seeing that the employees are getting this kind of formal education. They're very happy to see it be done. And directly more, employees and technicians and the other interns at this site are going to be the ones most directly impacted because they're the ones really getting the learning, right? They're the ones who's going to be carrying this out. And I even added the clients in there because they're on the receiving end of the groups that we're doing here. I've had to be aware of more factors related to addiction. We are a detox rehab. I'm learning about the whole process. I'm learning to have more meaningful communication between the different directors and be very respectful, have stronger interpersonal skills to have this communication with them and conversation with them to help them understand what I'm trying to do. The timeline, a couple weeks ago, I already did the training, reviewed it all with the directors, and they've already approved of everything. They gave me some recommendations. I've modified it since then. We're all good to go. Tomorrow, the day of this recording, it'll be tomorrow when I do this actual training itself. I'm going to be giving them this pre-evaluation training and then do the presentation and the practice with them. And then a week from then, I'm going to give them a post-evaluation survey, and I'll have a picture of that in a second. And a couple weeks after that, I'll be speaking with the directors directly about how they've seen any changes in their employees. And, anticipating outcomes, hoping for people to feel more confident in their ability to lead groups, hoping for people to feel better about documentation. You can see that in the documentation. That's what's written down, right? Clients will also recognize that groups are more consistent across the board because they can recognize that facilitators are all doing a good job and there's not this large amount of inconsistencies between them. And everyone is willing to lead groups and feel comfortable with managing the different problems that come with groups. That's fine. So to address the kind of social problems here, again, we're addressing the stigma about addiction, training people individually, but also helping clients will feel better equipped to manage their recovery on their own. And if they learn well in group, they will feel better equipped. And the stakeholders are also looking to see that the employees, on top of feeling more confident in their abilities, is also with the recent Medi-Cal changes, they want to make sure that everyone is trained well in how to document properly. So that's really big important thing they've been putting upon. So again, population, we're working with the employees at Sober Solutions Intervention, doing this group training, presentation, practice sessions. We're a lot of employees, and I've had conversations with them and even the directors that when they have to do groups, it's part of their job, but they're doing it kind of learning on the job in the moment. It can be a little bit intimidating. So giving the structured education, they're happy to receive it. A lot of people are very happy to know that this is coming. And ideally after this, again, people feeling more confident, people feeling more effective. The group will, people feel less burnt out after leading it. It would be consistency. There's a little picture of the pre-survey that I'll be giving people. Like I said, already past the planning and approval stage, and we're really just in the presentation stage, and then later will come the assessing and the reviewing. But right now, we're in the presentation, in the pre-eval stage, and we'll see where it goes from there. Thank you so much.